Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's 1v1 pro-level ladder action this afternoon, going down on the Bermuda Locket. The map with a hole in its heart, just for you. More Hallmark greeting card quotes available on request. Let's have a look at our map. Well, actually, we know the map pretty well by now, but we'll have a little mention about where the mass lies and all the rest of it in just a moment. First of all, let's give these players some time and allow them to gate in while we make our introductions. We'll start off down here at the bottom for a change. In the red corner, it is none other than Storm Lantern going Cybrin, bless him, opening first land. Are we going to get a second factory to sate our curiosity? First land. 1, 2, 3, 4, all of the P-gens in the world, so 8, 9, 10 P-gens, and then an air factory. And then up here at the top left-hand corner, in the blue corner, I should say, I misread this initially when I first read it. It's actually Lunishko. I thought it was Lukashenko. I was like, great, I have to root for a Cybrin now. But no, it's Lunishko. There he is, going UEF, how terribly sensible, opening first land, going second air, but with 1, 2... Oh, no, changing his mind a little bit there. What have we got? We've got 3 P-gens, plus another 4, 7, then back to 6. He is all about the indecisiveness today. There we go. So 8, 9, 10, 11 P-gens and a land factory. And presumably he's going to get the engineers to worry about the mass points and all of that jazz, because the ACU certainly couldn't care less by the look of things. And to the Americans out there, that is actually how you say that. Couldn't care less. I could care less implies that you could care. You have some degree of caring. So, yeah, just food for thought. Up to you how you use that. But I am the weaver. I am bringing linguists together around the world. Anyway, what have we got here for the mass points? Yeah, I imagine it's going to be a similar sort of situation. I guess there's so much reclaim to be had. That's the reclaim situation. In the bottom right hand corner, you're looking at somewhere close to about 4,400 just there, and you've got another 2,000 there, and then a similar situation on the other side of that southern leaf. Same situation, of course. It's all replicated and identical on the top end for Lunishko. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to rush into. It seems extraordinary, though, that still we haven't got any build orders queued up for these mass points whatsoever. But you just don't have to do it. And that seems very consistent with the meta, because these two chappies of 1,897 and 2,060 1v1 ladder rating, they seem to know all there is to know about where to go. I wonder how long this has been in rotation, Bermuda Locket. Answers in the comments section below. If you're a hard copy guy and you know all of these little intricacies in FAF, I would love to know, because they do alternate the map pools every now and again, and maps get taken in and out of rotation. So I wonder how long this has been in there. But nonetheless, these guys know what they're doing, and still very, very calm about the mass situation. Finally, we do get a mass point thrown down there. Ooh, and a skyhook transport out from Storm Lantern, no doubt looking to conquer one of these leafs. That is the shortest distance from his starting location, so I expect that'll probably be... No, I'm talking absolute gubbins. Look at that. He's going aggressive, traversing to the other side of the field, and wants to capture the 9 o'clock position. Do we have a transport anywhere on the way for Lunny? Well, he's started with a scout plane, and then he's going interceptor, so he's not rushing into aerial expansion anytime soon. Lunishenko also ever so slightly off the pace, down by about 1 or 2 mass points, something like that. It's about 9 or 10 mass versus 13 mass. Is that down to a power lock? Oh, it's actually down to a power lock, so he's not off the pace at all. He just hasn't managed his power balance quite so efficiently. We've got about 120 in the tank, minus 70 to 100 net power expenditure, or net power usage expenditure versus income, and still struggling to get a handle on it. But just look how many T1 P-gens he's produced, and we're still having trouble keeping positive power balance. 25 T1 P-gens. He's rectified the situation a little better now, but that just shows you how much reclaim there is in the early game for these players. Big old land mass in terms of, well, area, I suppose, but then, of course, these little causeways cause great problems, especially, of course, if you manage to lose the central pond to your opponent. Because, yeah, not a lot of protection to traverse these, as we've seen many times. There is a transport out from Lunny. He is going over to the right-hand side. And he didn't rush into that. He made a calculated judgment, said, I don't want to get involved in a tussle with somebody who's already set up shop over there at the 9 o'clock position. She scouted with his scout plane there and then landed as if to show off that fact. Right by Bernard there, who's also not showing any work ethic whatsoever. I'm happy to just stare at my job. I'm not actually going to assist with anything. T1 bomber out in the northwest there for Storm Lantern, just harassing a poor old NG. Had completed his tasks for the day though, so his area manager will be happy enough with that. One NG to the top of that eastern leaf for Lunny, and 3 to the south. He wants to get that tooled up as quickly as possible, since that's the entry point for the causeway. It's connected to Storm Lantern's main base, and Storm Lantern now bringing his commander up that causeway as we speak, up to the midpoint. If he were to go super aggressive here, he could try and knock this out of commission just with his comm, but he's going to have a lot of land factories to face by the time he gets there, if that is his plan. But who is to say? It's now 27 to 26 mass per tick in favour of Lunny, but Storm Lantern power locked momentarily. He is actually ahead in expansion terms quite comfortably, it would seem, if he could just get a handle on this power balance situation. Again, engineers spamming up T1 P-Gens anywhere the eye can see to try and get a hold of the income and stabilize his economy. Lunny also brought his comm out onto that northwestern causeway, repeating, or mirroring I should say, the move that his opponent has made. Storm Lantern on the move once again, having grabbed those 4 mass points at the midpoint on that causeway. There are another 2 up here. It doesn't necessarily mean he's making a play out here. This engineer that's heading out this way for Lunny is going to be severely disappointed, I think, to bump into a comm. Probably should expect the presence of one Storm Lantern, though, being as he has done pretty much exactly the same thing. Now, what's happening in the center of the Locket? We've got 3 operational naval yards for both players. Both of them working on more. We're up to 4 now for Lunny. 2 more queued up after that. We already have frigates duking it out right in the center. As with most Cybran units, of course, a little bit more tin-foily on the HP values compared to UEF counterparts. And now we have a first wave of Mantis moving out from this 9 o'clock position just to test the waters against Lunny's causeway position. Lunny, though, with his comm in situ. No way these Mantis are breaking through here, and I think Storm Lantern agrees, which is why he's turning tail and moving in full reverse. Storm Lantern throws down a land factory a little bit further up, just protecting these 2 mass points. But he's not investing too heavily in defenses. Skyhook moving out to the 9 o'clock position from the main base. And the all-important T2 P-Gens starting to come online. So, Storm Lantern went straight for T2 Air. Lunny, what did you go after? He's got T2 Air as well. Well as land, in fact. So, there's the land HQ, there's the air HQ. Fusion reactor going up on the side of his main base. Game escalating quickly, which is what we like about this map. The aforementioned mass tends to fuel that. Storm Lantern bringing his comm forward, just having a pop at some of these forces guarding the entrance to this 3 o'clock position. That's a lot of naval yards that Storm Lantern has online now. I'll be bothered to count. There's 8. I probably could have counted that many. That's just extreme laziness on my part. But now a pretty serious attack, renewed attack by Storm Lantern on this position, but again failing to break through. And leaving that position pretty secure, to be honest. It's a very narrow bottleneck. Lunny still with a decent number of units in there, and even some T2 units which are funneling up now from the main base. And we're about to get some Janus pressure in over the top. I love the smell of napalm, especially when it's cooking replicators. What's happening on the naval side of things? It looks potentially like a small advantage in numbers of the frigates for our Cybran player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's exactly even. I'm talking rubbish. There are more reinforcements coming in. Gun upgrade on the way for Storm Lantern. Recently started, only 15% complete. Can Lunny force a cancel? Is he even considering forcing a cancel? He has upgraded one of the land factories down here to Tech 2, slowly pumping out pillar tanks. Give him a little bit more oomph and firepower. He's got a lot of Lobos here. If he could beat back these Mantis, might be able to force a cancel here, but no. Did not move in time. Already up to 80%. No way he's cancelling that now, even if the shells were starting to rain, which they are. So there's the completion. Nice old rate of fire and range buff. Now he just has to stay on point with his micro, and he should have an advantage here. But it is a pretty solid wall that he's facing. Now we've got engineers throwing down a triad behind that line of troops. The very center of the pond has been yielded to Storm Lantern, but he's not pushing straight in. More naval yards going up in the Bay Area for Lunny. Lunny, who's continuing to press at 3 o'clock now. Engineers trying to get a T1 PD online, but they get absolutely blitzed from the sky. It's not their first rodeo from air attacks over here at the 9 o'clock position, so you can see there's a lot of Sky Slammer flak on the ground shooting back at these fighter bombers, which are starting to get popped out of the sky now, but not without inflicting heavy casualties. Lunny sees how much devastation he's inflicted and orders his ground forces forward. Is he going to be able to break this position? I'm going to go to split screen right now because I do just want to keep an eye on what's happening in the southeast, and also, in fact, in the pond. While this attack is going down at the 9 o'clock, it's all well and good for Lunny, but it's not looking so good in the central pond as tons and tons of frigates sail straight into the harbour. Engineers back here busy themselves with torpedo launcher production. They're going to lose some factories here, it would seem. Back down to the bottom right. Storm Lantern, despite that gun upgrade on his commander, having problems holding the entrance to this causeway here. We've got a bit of a point defense creep underway. We saw the one go down further back. Engineers lurching forward to deny Storm Lantern territory. Storm Lantern says, I don't like the look of that. Brings his commander forward and engages. Well spotted, sir. Isolating that threat. Always nice play. Having isolated it, doesn't go tearing straight in towards the pack of, well, lot of those are engineers, in fact, but towards the pack of T1 tanks and the like. Instead, utilising his range, just pick them off. There's that second triad, of course, but look at what's going on the left-hand side of the screen. That central pond in danger of being a no-go area now for Lunny. Only 2 naval yards remain and tons of enemy frigates in the bay area. Oh no, bad times if you're rooting for Lunny. And while you're down there, give us a like, subscribe, and a comment. In fact, if you're struggling for things to say, I want you all to give me your opinion right now at 15 minutes. Who do you favour to win this from this position? Nice breakthrough at 9 o'clock. Storm Lantern struggling to break through at 3 o'clock, but he has won the Central Ocean. Critical, as we have seen on many an occasion. Nice run by into the southern section of the 9 o'clock leaf by Lunny, looking to take down some of these land factories, managing to take down one of them, but there's far too many Cyberyn forces in the area to complete the conquest. He has managed a breakthrough here, though. If he can set up shop at the top of this leaf, then maybe he can solidify this recent conquest. Oh, Storm Lantern in trouble! What on earth? How did he lose so much health? Wow, well, there was a massive run by of forces, so I'm guessing that's what did it. And at the same time, was taking fire consistently from that triad. But I'm amazed he managed to get out of that. Storm Lantern almost dying there on the nose of 16 minutes into the game. Even after the evac, he hasn't repped up that much. Gonna get your comm on the ground, sir? You don't want to get it shot out of the sky. Well, he's stalling on that for the moment, so we can't see how much health he's got. Currently, is that a nice solid advantage in the air game for Storm Lantern as well? I think it might be. We've also got a nasty little wolf pack of gunships, technically reserved for submarines, of course. I don't know why I use that expression. Should be a squadron like anything else for gunships shortly. Leave me alone, it's my channel, I can do what I want. Force brought to bear on one of those PD creep triads. Lots and lots of torpedo bombers out from Lunny, just trying to thin out this horde of frigates. Trouble is, there's not much in the way of air-to-air cover for those torpedo bombers, so they're just going to get absolutely rinsed now. This doesn't look great, having lost the ocean, but Lunny is making gains. He almost got the comm kill down here. He's now pushing closer to the main base on the southeastern causeway. He has broken through on the 9 o'clock leaf. How does this translate to eco? Because the extra map control, well, it's 183 to 105 right now. So Lunny not looking too bad from an economy perspective. Of course, the problem is we're up to T2 Navy and starting to see cruiser production. And once they get up there, some cruisers and destroyers down here will make a royal nuisance of themselves. Oh, and a nice push with some Corsair fighter bombers. Strike out at Lunny's power grid. Takes down a reactor or two. Oh, can't afford to lose these two. There goes one. Minus 1200 net power. That other one surviving for the time being on 550 HP. And all the time that's going on, we've got gunship harass being pushed and applied to the 3 o'clock position. Almost 20 minutes down. In terms of total mass accrued, Lunny about to tick over to 150k. And Storm Lantern down on 129. That's quite a difference. But actually, in terms of balance of power and the way the game sits, it's very even, or it feels very even. And Salem just on the beach down here. Cause an awful lot of damage, that one Salem, with those couple of gunships. Oh no, this doesn't look good for Lunny. He has got a T2 land factory. What would he do with a couple of skyboxers kicking about? But he's going to lose that factory now and won't be produced. Oh, she has got a couple more down here. These have been recently upgraded. Choice there, a clink hammer. I guess he wanted to use that to hit back at a potentially encroaching destroyer moving up on the beach in true devilish Cyberin fashion. You need to move your cruiser back, sir. He's having an argument with a cliff and it's not going his way. Just move it up a little bit further. In over here, look at all of the vulnerable mass points that he could target. Get at least 2 T2s straight down the center. Easy pickings. Counter pressure now from Storm Lantern. Little group of rhinos. The 9 o'clock position. Fighting ever so slightly uphill. Awkward mountains, of course, in this position, blocking a lot of the inbound and outbound fire. No bad thing to have a bunch of Medusas on hand to lob ordnance over the top of. Now Salem's going to show up. That really will tip the balance down here a little bit. Not much those units can do to hit back against that, assuming of course he's targeting stuff that he can actually hit. That would help. Actually like this. He's dropped back with these units and is now just moving to harass. He's going to thin out the horde with that destroyer and then presumably reinitiate the pressure on the ground game. Look at this. So all of the infrastructure on the northeastern causeway has been taken out by Storm Lantern's navy. Storm Lantern now harassing with Corsairs. He's had the advantage in the air and the naval game for quite some time. However, we have got a transition to T3 air now from Lunny. Haven't got a huge number of air superiority fighters in play. It's only a matter of time. I say have got a huge, we've got 3, so perhaps a little understated on that comment. Versus 58 T1 interceptors with fuel and an extra 22 which are bingo on fuel. Borderline useless since we don't have any air staging facilities that I can see. So he's losing units up here, Lunny, but he is also replacing them. However, there's a cruiser moving up now to support that Salem. Hover tank incursion, trying to reclaim the harbour area. Engineers move in at the same time and shove down some torpedo launchers. So many frigates here, and they're so cheap, you could just afford to lose them. Targets the torpedo launchers initially, but registers the fact that these Sparkies have moved back in to create yet more. So he moves the frigates up to kill off the engineers, and that's exactly the right maneuver for that scenario. Doesn't want to have to face any more defenses than he has to. There they go, and once again he is ousted from that position. Oh, nice little airdrop of build capacity moving in now to steal some of this mass. What are we looking at in terms of mass here? Well, there's a whopping 18.5k mass to be recycled in that little area. So definitely worthwhile, kids. If you're in such a situation, that is what you do. So counter movement over at the 9 o'clock position from Lunny. Trying to get in around the back of these rhinos. There are a lot of rhinos here, though. 17 rhinos. There are two units of T1 point defense. What's over here? Still just a solitary Salem trying to harass, but again, the relief of the land making life difficult. Now we have T3 air from Storm Lantern as well, so he's not going to find himself too far off the pace. Currently working on an ion reactor to support future air production. He's still working on Corsairs at the moment. I'm sure we'll switch up to air superiority fighters in the near future. Certainly will once he's registered that he's got some to face on the opposing team. Once again, engineers move out to try and breach their way in. A little barricade of Riptide tanks in front of them. Salem and the cruiser need to focus on this really. I mean, it's all well and good bombarding factories on the causeway. You'd love to get rid of them, yes. You also don't want to allow your opponent to get re-established in this area. That would be unfortunate, shall we say. So, a couple of triads. A plasma cannon still left defending this position. Rhinos are going to press regardless. They realise that there are triads. Focus fire is a little bit all over the place right now. As a result, he's going to back off. So, in terms of map control, I mean, it feels very much 50-50. But in terms of eco, it's a very different story than it was a while back. Storm Lantern now in the lead, 219 to 175. Total mass accrued still 40k behind, which is not a small value by any way, shape or form. Gunships brought in to help assist with the eviction notice on these UEF forces, but unfortunately Sparky's quick to throw down an air cleaner, forces them to back off. My goodness, could he actually manage to fight his way back in here? He started or queued up a naval yard. There goes production. But has to abandon it because of all of the inbound fire. He has got a range advantage with those cruisers. 3 cruisers and a destroyer. He could just sit off here, well out the way, and pepper the area. There's no reason to put those at risk. And now we've got yet more naval yards going up in the middle. Mass spam potentially on the cards here. Wouldn't be terrible to go mass Salem at this point and launch an attack through these 2 bay areas at the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock position. Evict Lunny from these 2 leaves, and you've got naval advantage. You've got 3/4 of the map. You're looking pretty good at that point. Clink hammers under shield coverage at the main base for Lunny. Just being used to keep Storm Lantern at arm's length. Push on the ground from Lunny on the southeastern causeway takes all of those mexes out on the route through towards the main base, but look at the crossfire coming in from the central pond. Ugh. Not a position you want to be in, really. That's why water, such a crucial play on this map. Storm Lantern in his main base with his comm, throwing down a quick auto gun there. Has got a whaler out also. Well, that whaler immediately starts taking some fire from a skyboxer. Needs to get rid of that ASAP. I'd be surprised if he can't contain this. Now, 2 T3 gunships and the comm. No engineering suite on the comm, so it's not like he can move it up and just start plonking down Cerberus turrets or anything. Nothing with any real punching power moving down here. We haven't got any Percivals or anything like that. So he should be able to keep that at bay. In fact, I think that is all just T1 spam now. He will probably lose that T3 mechs thanks to this awkward hillock at the entry point to his main base. Needs to keep on the move though. Doesn't want to end up in a situation he was in a little earlier where he almost got assassinated. Lovely overcharge there. Gets rid of about 5 of those Lobos in one shot. And that is the end of that little attack. Klinkhammer's on the other side of Lanishko's northern leaf. Wow, okay. So not going to hit back with mass spam. It would take too much area and too long to build all of those naval yards. So instead he went straight for tech, going straight for the T3 naval yard, and looks like a Neptune battle cruiser to try and ionize those frigates as quickly as possible. Interesting tactic. We'll see if it works out for him. Probably the most sensible play under the circumstances. What's happening now with the ASF count on Lunny's side of things? 21 air superiority fighters for our UEF player. Storm Lantern, where are we, sir? So he's got a whopping 92 T1 inties with fuel and 32 that are bingo on fuel, but he's also got 14 air superiority fighters, so he still has the air, ostensibly. Interesting, couple of Continentals sitting just off the coast of the main base up here. He has got air staging facilities. Going to maximize the effectiveness of his air force. Lunny now up again on mass by about 50 mass per tick or so. Pretty solid advantage now that he has grabbed the extra mass points back that were destroyed on the 9 o'clock over here, sorry, 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position. Noticing what's been going on, Storm Lantern moves back into the harbour area but finds himself now facing 2 Neptunes. There is of course a bank of T1 torpedo launchers. We've got some T2 torpedo launchers going up at the back. Will these 2 Neptunes provide enough cover for these engineers to spam up more of these torpedo launchers and finally secure his way back into the naval game? Dish out so much damage. Those battle cruisers should definitely be hoovering up these cruisers. Very, very vulnerable and tinny compared to the destroyers. Always seemed interesting to me. Okay, all the Salem's got... Wow. Just wow. He did lose 1 Neptune, but he holds on to the other one with some 5,000 hit points remaining. Crucially, he's got lots of build capacity left. He did lose the T3 naval yard, which is a real shame for him, but he wastes no time in establishing another T1. I'm sure we'll get probably a transition to tech on that pretty soon. Response to that defeat is to bring the whalers in. Transports make a flyby at a curious time. Air superiority fighter cover activated for Lunny. And there we go. There are the Geminis, not with activated stealth or anything like that. So fully visible to radar and what have you. And then the massive wave of... well, you want to say obsolete, but when there's that many of them, you can see the effect they have. Lunny forced to back off. Those whalers still operating effectively now, harassing some of these riptides sitting down here in the pond. Lunny cautious not to throw away what air superiority fighters he has, but a lovely little push going down now from Storm Lantern at the 9 o'clock position. Bricks, rhinos are just tearing their way through. And that looks like a solid repatriation of territory for our Cybran player. But what have we got over here? Continentals, we saw them traversing the screen earlier during that last attack by Storm Lantern. But he's come down here and he's filled up with Lobos and is now going in for a drop at the main base. Can Storm Lantern see this coming? No, he cannot. He's going to be taken completely by surprise and not in a good way. That's so many Lobos, so many artillery making landfall. He's going to lose the ion reactor. He's going to lose both ion reactors in one volley. And there's still another Continental to worry about. Oh my god, and down goes the air factory also. That is a brutal, brutal assault. Yes, he deals with them in short order, but look at his energy grid. His power balance is absolutely mooked. Where is that second transport? It's gone over here. That's low, says Storm Lantern. It's low, but very, very effective. He's now going to lose T3 Mexes over here on the other side. What's happening up here? Storm Lantern has broken his way through that northwestern causeway now, heading up to the main base, but there's plenty of defenses lying in wait for him. There's even a Percival or two. Storm Lantern saying he has Omni. Well, it wasn't covering this portion of his base a while ago, so either he's recently lost it or he's mistaken about what he's built. He had power, so the thing would have been running. But another successful drop into the main base for Storm Lantern. Things going from bad for worse for him. Look at that. He is so down on power requirements. It's scary. And now T3 Mex is going to be under pressure, although he's still focusing in on all the T1 reactors. Storm Lantern not even bringing his commander down. Oh, and another Continental. What a wonderful, wonderful attack this has been on multiple vectors. Look at that position over there. All mass points destroyed. Storm Lantern brings his commander down, but yet more Lobos have landed for him to worry about. Power production now minus 5,400 net. And T2 reactors continue to fall. And he says, yeah, what an amazing way to break sort of the deadlock. I mean, you could argue that the power balance was already shifting. Lunny had fought his way back into the pond and had a massive tech advantage. Where is the Naval HQ? There it is, still at T2. So maybe we were going to see a pushback anyway from there. But that was a fantastic set of drops. So many Lobos making landfall. Those Continentals are absolute transport beasts with what they can carry. But yeah, the 2,000 rated player pulls it out of the bag at the end of a 37-minute game with some solid drop action. Very, very entertaining. I hope you agree. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Don't forget, if you want to support me, the best way to do that is via Patreon. It's a $1 a month. We have some 88 premium content casts for your viewing pleasure. We have all, incidentally, ad-free casts. We have the Discord as well, all for a mere $1 a month, which buys you absolutely nothing these days. Nothing! So go check it out, guys. More to come from me in the future, but until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.